You want to create your lead magnet with your ideal client in mind. Think about what your ideal client likes to do. You want to put a number in your lead magnet as well. I call them listicles because a number creates a clear end point to the guide. You need that listicle, that number, because there's a clear strategy and an end point for the viewer.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate First Technology. Can you believe that we're already over 400 episodes with our show starting at about 4 years ago? So I think on average, it's about 100 episodes per year. Today, we want to bring in a special guest and someone who's absolutely crushing it on Instagram. If you've ever gone to an Instagram page before and you're like, wow, this Instagram page is polished, they're professional, they're focused, they're organized, and they're absolutely crushing it. It may intrigue you because you're like, how do I even do that myself? Well, today we're going to bring someone on who we're going to deep dive into everything from the IG, lead magnets, the type of lead magnets, what is ManyChat, going into a little bit of email marketing campaigns, and what do you do after you have those email marketing campaigns, and what are some things that you could do to be able to add value to your stories to get individuals to potentially give you their email so they can go into your email marketing campaign and you can maximize opportunities. So today we're going to be going to North Virginia, meeting with someone who has over $110 million in real estate sold. She's a part of the Now Bam network. She's a creator for them, and she's crushing it with over 16,000 followers on her Instagram page. We have the one and only Lindsay Joe on the show. Welcome to Real Estate First Tech.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, of course, of course. You know, we really appreciate your time. We know you're very busy, you have a lot going on, and so we want to make sure that we maximize this for our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention for you to take things from our show to apply to your business, have more success. And so, before we get into specifics, so that individuals from the guests that are listening or viewing can actually start to put things in practical action today, let's go into your story and better understand a little bit about why real estate in the first place.
Yeah, I love that question. So I got into real estate 9 years ago because of my ex. So he was a little bit older than me, and he had a friend group that was very well established at the time. They were earning a lot of money. I was a nanny at the time. I was 22, and I felt very embarrassed of my job. I felt like I didn't really fit in with them. And so I thought,
Yeah.
what is the quickest thing that I can do? The fastest thing that I can do career wise to make the most amount of money possible without a college degree. And so that is how I fell into real estate. 9 years later, I never looked back, and it's worked
Wow.
out for me. Yeah.
That,
I feel
that's
like,
that's awesome.
yeah, sometimes I used to feel very embarrassed of that story because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of times people have this like really romantic story of how they got into real estate. Like, oh, my mom was a realtor. Oh, I just loved interior. And so
Yeah.
mine's a little different,
Yeah.
but now I've realized that I'm proud of that story because it is different and it is my story. So why not share it?
Hey, Ben, I love that. So a couple just selfish questions before we get into,
Yeah.
it's actually crazy. 400 plus episodes for viewers and listeners out there. You're actually one of the first, if not the first, to give specific questions so we can be focused and deliberate with the value that we're adding on today's show. What was
Yeah.
one thing that you would say that stuck out from you? So it's like, I'll give you an example. So this morning, I'm driving my daughter to school. She's about to be 6 in November on the 15th. And she's like, Daddy, I'm very jealous. Let me tell you why. And I'm like, okay, why? And so she's like, there's this girl with these puppies on YouTube and she has these doll houses and all this type of stuff. And I was like, honey, oh, that's so cute. At the end of the day, you don't have to be jealous. We can get those things for you as well. And remember what you do have as well. Cause sometimes if viewers, listeners out there, myself, right, we compare ourselves, whether, it's cars or watches or whatever the case may be. So it sounds like you kind of maybe not directly, maybe indirectly had a moment where you're like comparing yourself as a nanny, thinking you're less than, and now you're in the real estate industry. What is one thing that you learned going through the process of now transacting, working with clients, and it looks so glitz and glam and amazing and wow, but then you get into it. And what was one thing you're like, holy shit, I did not expect that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like to piggyback off of that, the comparison thing, I think
Yeah.
I had my self-worth wrapped up in my income and wrapped up in my
Ah,
voice. And so
yeah.
even now, almost 9 years later of being in real estate, only recently, like in the last year or so, did I really figure out that my self-worth is not dependent upon my home sales and
Yeah.
the money and the amount of income that I make. I think I had a really, really big goal in 2022. I missed it by one transaction. It sent me into an insane spiral.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to say, numbers because that's
Yeah. Yeah.
cringe. I sold a lot of real estate. And so I should have been proud of myself for that. But instead, I was spiraling
Amen.
the fact that I didn't hit my goal. And so
Mm,
what I realized was that my self-worth for so long was wrapped up in how much money I was making, how many homes I was selling, my kind of career status,
yeah.
other people. So that's one thing that I've really learned recently, just being a realtor for, almost 9 years now, is that you are successful no matter how many homes that you've sold. You're successful based on your activities. Your
I
focus
love
should
that.
be on the activities that you're doing because your activities will always lead you to your goal. But I think
Amen.
wrong. I was really focused on that one goal. So to answer your question,
Wow.
that's one thing that I really have taken away from.
Wow, I love that. I love that. And going into your Instagram, I want
Yeah.
to inspire and just intrigue people. Like, go follow Lindsay. I think the biggest thing about your Instagram, this is my hot take, right? My hot take is that they can look at your Instagram content, either A, be inspired and motivated, and be like, "Wow, she's doing this. This is freaking awesome!" Because your Instagram is very intriguing. It's intriguing. There's a flow to the way that you execute the delivery that you deliver in a manner that makes people go, "Wow!" Or go on the opposite direction and just become haters. Oh, this, that, and the other thing, and think from the ego standpoint instead of thinking from the standpoint of like, I want to achieve X. And based off what Lindsay's doing, and you even do some empowerment stuff with women. So congratulations on that as well, helping women not just do things on their own, but employ women to, come together and serve one another. I'm sure we could touch on that later on in the show. So I just want to say that go follow her Instagram. Whether either side you're on, you'll learn something. She's crushing it. So the first question is so basically, why should we be building our email list through the power of an Instagram account?
Yeah. So we definitely want to be building our email list through Instagram because we don't own our Instagram following. We only
Mm-hmm.
own email list. So I have nightmares about randomly waking up one day and my Instagram account being completely deleted. And that is 10 years worth of work that would just be completely gone.
Happened to
Yeah.
me.
Did it?
I had 10,000 plus followers, and
Mhm.
I lost my Instagram, my wife's Instagram, my daughter's Instagram, my Facebook account. I had well over, I maxed out my Facebook account. I couldn't have any more friends. I don't know what the number was with that. 11, 12,000 followers on my Instagram account. And my daughter had an account, and they didn't say specifically why, but some of her videos were going viral. And I don't know. It is what it is. But that nightmare happened to me.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
So we really want to be building that email list because we want to have something to fall back on because we own
Mm.
emails, we don't own our Instagram following. And so that's just something that BAM preaches a lot and just something that I put into a lot of practice as
I
well.
love that. I love that. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that too. So, viewers
Yeah.
and listeners, build your email list. That's something that you own. That's why I also advocate of the website portion too, because you could build a search engine optimization. You could build your email list there, and there's so much you could do what you own there as well, which is always something for viewers and listeners out there to take in consideration. So, next question. So, what is, in your definition, a lead magnet for anyone who's wanting to attract maybe an ideal magnet?
So think of a lead magnet as anything that is of value that you're giving away to your Instagram followers in exchange for an email address or contact information. So I offer a lead magnet on my Instagram story. They click a link, there's an opt in form, they fill out their information on the back end, that lead magnet is sent to them, and then
Okay.
their information is input into my CRM or into my email marketing
I,
space.
I love that. I love that. It reminds me of the seven triggers to yes. It states that if you do something for someone else, they'll be more inclined to do something back. Hence why, you're getting the information for giving them some type of value. I love that. I love that. So what type of lead magnets should be created? So for anyone out there that are on Instagram that want to be able to add value, what are some things that you're doing now?
Yeah, you want to create your lead magnet with your ideal client in mind. So I know we all have those buyer and seller guides,
Yep.
but those aren't very exciting and they're played out. And we have to remember too that real estate only impacts people's lives 1% of the time. So the other
Yep.
90% of the time, we have to keep them engaged with other types of content. So you want to think about your ideal client avatar and you want to create these lead magnets based on what they would want to do on a weekend. So for me, I love first time home buyers close to the city and my age bracket, in the 30s, they want a condo, they want to have fun. Those are just the
Mm,
I vibe with. So a good lead magnet for that type of ideal client avatar would be like a top 10 brunches in DC. So think about what your ideal client likes to do. If you want to target moms, you could do the top 10 playgrounds in Dallas or whatever, or the top 10, whatever you want to do. You want to put a number in your lead magnet as well. I call them listicles because a number creates a how do I say this? It's a clear end point to the guide. So they will know that there's 10 steps
Mm,
versus the playgrounds in DC or
got it.
awesome places to visit. That you need that listicle, that number, because there's a clear strategy and an end point for the viewer. And anybody who's
Interesting.
new can DM me the word guide, and my free lead magnet that I use, that I give away on my Instagram stories all the time, will be sent to you. It's compatible with Canva. You can literally take out my branding photos, put yours in, offer it up on your Instagram story, and we'll get into how to actually create that link to where to click on in the Instagram story as well.
I love that. I love that. It reminds me, my wife and I were living and my daughter in the Bay Area of California. Now we're outside of Scottsdale in Gilbert, Arizona. And I didn't have time to fly out here and be able to rent a car, get a place, the whole nine. And my wife had family out here, but I just went on Google and I searched and found some guy, not even an agent, just on YouTube. And he showed me all the things around the area so I could watch a video, find out about schools, parks, Growthway. And so I found Gilbert, Arizona was actually the next Scottsdale for raising a family for millennials. And we ended up this house and I've made $400,000, $100,000 per year off of very similar
Yeah.
strategy. It's something with search engine optimization and Google outside of Instagram. So I got to say that it definitely works. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
Love
love
it.
that. I love that. All right, so now they have an idea a little bit about as far as creating lead magnets, what that looks like. When it comes to promoting the lead magnets to the audience, how would you recommend to promote it to get it out there? Because if there's someone out there who's like, say, watching right now, they don't have a big following, they don't have the most polished content, they're only getting 5 people to watch their Instagram stories. Does that tie into search engine optimization as far as like when you post those specific lead magnets and how do you
Yeah.
promote them to get more people to download?
I will tell you that I started posting these lead magnets when I had like 1,800 followers, and it's worked
Wow.
very well for me. But I will say I've promoted these for a long time, so I know kind of the method of like what works. So I used
Okay.
to do like sparkles and graphics and a lot of things going on my Instagram story. It just doesn't convert at all. It's just way too busy. So what you want to
Mm,
do, black background, create mode, and Instagram. You want to do simple text. So you want to do white text that just says, grab my top 10 brunches in DC guide. I'm going to put your link there and one little white arrow to get that. On the next Instagram story, you want to do a screen recording of your actual guide. And if you guys DM me the word guide, obviously you're going to get my guide and you'll see it's cute. So you want
yeah.
to screen record that. I find that a lot of times we have to walk people over the invisible bridge of them giving us their contact information. Like they almost have to
Yeah.
see getting before they fill out their information. So you want to do create mode, black background, simple text, one link, white arrow. And then on the
Okay.
next story, you want to do a screen recording of your actual guide with another link and a white arrow to grab
Got
it.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Simple, easy, technical things that people could take advantage of.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about like the flow forms and the workflow and how that works going through that process.
Yes. I also have a Instagram highlight on my page that says get free stuff that has all my lead magnets linked so people can click through and kind of see how it works as we're talking
Mm,
about Flowdesk. But Flowdesk is the email marketing platform that I use. So it will help you create an opt-in form, which opt-in form sometimes sounds scary to people who are listening, but it's
yeah.
literally you click a link, there's information in there where you put in your name and your email, you click submit on the back end, you get the lead magnet. So I use Flowdesk to create those opt-in forms and those workflows on the back.
I
And
love that.
everyone
I love that.
that's listening can DM me the word Flowdesk, Flodesk. I've got a BAM article that will walk you through step by step how to do all of that.
Cool. Yeah. Links are down below. And I feel like 16,000 agents that I personally met. I feel like the biggest caveat is agents to understand standard operating procedures, key performance indicators to focus on the income producing activity. And so a lot of people out there listening and viewing, you might be inspired. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this together.
Mhm.
But then what does that flow look like? So that's where you need to take action now. Click the link down below, go to her Instagram page and download that flow, and maybe even use that tool specifically to be able to maximize the opportunity of your past efforts for your future successes, where everything can kind of, I guess you could say, tie in together. I can imagine, Lindsay, you probably put out different posts or content to remind people that you have these things to be able to get them to download your opportunities.
Totally. You want to do this only on Instagram stories because your Instagram stories expire. So a lot of times I will give away the same lead magnet over and over and over again, and I still get tons of email subscribers
Yeah,
because it's a new lead magnet to a bunch of new eyeballs. Because the reality
yeah.
is like 50% of your followers really are going to see your story posts. So it's going to be fresh eyeballs every single time.
I love that. I love that. So I think a big thing is working through the flow, right? And how people go through, because I feel like individuals forget about like the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. I'm talking to a company right now locally to blow up my personal content. I think last 30 days I've reached like 177,000 people, a couple of viral videos, but it's entertaining, educating, and then asking and having a flow through the process to be able to, from my understanding, to be able to really be able to add value first before you ask, and then telling the person, hey, this is how I could be of service or how I can help. And it doesn't even need to be like, hey, I'm ready to help you buy a home or sell a home. It could just be, hey, here's how I can help. And I love the next question going into people forget on social media, especially Instagram, that you got the scroll of what, 2.5, maybe 3 seconds. People are lazy. They're not going to click on your bio. They're not going to go through that process unless they know, like, trust you. They've already been in your ecosystem for a long time. So, ManyChat, how do you maximize the opportunity of getting them to be able to do a one-word prompt, if you will, to
Yeah.
automatically get a DM to then be able to get a call to action or be able to get your high value?
Yeah. So you can either use the Flowdesk opt-in form or you could do ManyChat as well. ManyChat, like you said, is a chat bot that connects with Instagram where you pick a trigger word based on whatever trigger word you pick, that response happens in the DMs. I like to use ManyChat a little bit more for my feed posts. I feel like
Ah,
that it's a little bit better. And then I like to use the Flowdesk opt-in forms for my story posts.
I love
And
that.
I do the ManyChat for my feed post because you can do the public autoresponder. So then you get an additional comment. So you can say, like, you pick your trigger word and somebody says the trigger word, you can public auto response and say, thanks so much, check your DM. So you're getting double the comments, which signals to Instagram that this is a great video and that it's more likely to push your content out
I
more.
love that. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's huge. I had one of my posts, and this is an anomaly. One of my posts, because normally you'll post something on Instagram, right, and it'll show to a certain percentage, and then if there's engagements, like you said, or comments or
Mhm.
shares, then it'll push again and push again, push again. One of my posts hit 4 million, and it didn't die for 6 months, and that was something that I've never encountered before. I'm like, holy cow! And that's one of the reasons why I have that reach of 170,000 individuals within 30 days of my personal Instagram account. So that's definitely something to take considerations. How do you get individuals to keep engaging?
Mhm.
Fun content, funny content, things that make people emotionally move. With
Yeah.
emotions becomes your emotions come motion. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah, for sure. I think I try to do a good job of showcasing that boss babe feel, but
Mm,
also the authentic and vulnerable side of being a realtor, which is
yeah,
very
for sure. Yeah, I think the number one thing you hit it on the head is boss woman. You just seem like a boss person, someone who's just down to business, no joke, get it done, very deliberate. Hence why I told individuals earlier to go check out your Instagram account. And I look at that as a persona that you're giving off to attract the ideal avatar that is intrigued by that and sees that and says, Lindsay's my gal. Like that's who I want to work with based off the fact that she has a flow about her and energy about her, a transfer of energy that is something that is very intriguing. So I
yeah.
definitely feel that from your Instagram.
Thank you. And I think we can't please everybody, right? So I'm
Yeah.
not everybody's cup of tea, but that's okay because I feel like I really do attract my tribe of people. I feel
Yeah.
like we have to stand for something. If not, if we're not polarizing in some way, our content is never going to reach the right people. But I do feel like if you take people on the journey with you and you share what I call the scars, not like the oozy wounds. So meaning like,
Uh,
here's the scar, here's what I learned from it, right? Here's the situation that was really rough. Here's what I learned versus like everything sucks, right? People naturally just want to come along the journey with you and come along on the ride with you, and they start to root for you, and you
Yeah.
start to feel like a really amazing community. But then I'm also going to show you the empowerment, like female boss babe side too. So I'm going to show you what I'm going through, like whether that's my mom's diagnosis with early onset Alzheimer's or
Mm.
recent separation from my husband of 10 years. Like those things are not easy for me to talk about,
Yeah.
but I always try to think about who I'm serving in my content and who that
I love that.
piece of content is for. And so before I post, I always say, who is this piece of content for? What girl needs to see this? And then I post because it's really not about me. And I need to detach from that. It's who are we serving in our content, whether that's a buyer, a seller, an agent, whoever your ideal person is that you're trying to reach. Think about who you're serving in that moment and who needs.
Yeah, I love that. I was watching the video from the day in the life and how you all suddenly was like you could kind of say like a squirrel moment. You're like, yeah, that's a tattoo behind my ear. And you went into a little bit of a story instead of just going directly into what it is that you're going to go into, which then it's just like capture their attention, and then you have that hook point and they're like wanting to finish what you started, but then you're like, wait a minute. And then they're learning something personal about you and then they get to continue watching.
Yeah. I think the reason that video did so well too is because I picked 4 things that I really wanted to highlight in that video. So
Okay.
it was, I'm trying to remember what they were, but it was door hangers, Kona ice truck, many chat, and then the card my yard sign. And I broke down the pricing for all that as well. But that video, I thought, what do agents want to see for a very successful open house?
Yeah.
I broke down the pricing as well. So I think I used to kind of share. I used to be a squirrel all the time. Like I went here, then I went here, then I did this, then I did that. Just pick 4 or 5 things that you really want to share that would be valuable to your audience and then put that in your
Yeah. I'm seeing it a lot more. I like the fact that individuals like yourself is putting more emphasis. It's one thing like, oh, coming soon, just sold, just listed. You don't see Ryan Serhant doing that. You see more of a strategic way of doing it to showcase, like you see it also, Chris does this,
Yeah.
showcase maybe a restaurant or something by the
Yeah.
listing or do a fun open house event and then showcase that event in a way where it's for the community and you're giving back and you're having a good time. And it
Mhm.
takes it to a total different stratosphere from the perspective of it's, how could you imagine living in this home and where would you eat or go to check out? And oh yeah, because Lindsay was talking about these different things. I can imagine myself going there. Now I want to go look at the house. I want to go also check out these other places. And then it's just an awesome way to tie it in like with the bow on top.
I love Chris. Chris is the goat.
Yes, he was on our show. He's awesome. Shout out Chris. Go check out his episode. He definitely is. And I have a selfish question. And
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think this is something that I don't know how many people like actually like really take in consideration or even put out there. So, it is what it is, right? You're an agent, you're doing an amazing job, and there's a lot of agents that follow you, right? So you create this vibe and you're almost like this boss babe for also the community, almost like Chris. You guys are just giving like BAM Network as well, giving back, sharing, supporting. Do you feel that it helps with like when you post and the industry sees your content, like agents are liking it, they're commenting on it? Does that help with the algorithm to get additional viewership, to be able to reach your ideal avatar, to be able to bring in more lead flow? Do you think that's a key performance indicator to your success on Instagram from the perspective of other agents watching your content as well?
I do. And I think it's also who you're trying to attract as well. So a big portion of my business is agent to agent referrals. So in the last 7 months, I've made 71,000 in net commission from Instagram leads alone, whether that's an
Right.
agent referral or if that's somebody that has reached out to me locally in my area that was looking to buy or sell. So I do think that it does. I think what we have to really understand though is we need to be creating the type of content that makes us really excited. I think sometimes we
Mm,
in our head about it, like, oh, I need to be posting this. I need to do educational content. I need to do XYZ. And it's like, we already have a job. Our job is selling real estate. Sometimes that job
yeah.
is not very fun, right? Let's all be real. Sometimes it's not very fun. So our
Yeah.
content should never feel like a job. Like if any, like literally that's probably the most important thing that I want people to take away from this episode today is that your content shouldn't feel like a job. If it feels like a job, then you're doing it wrong. Your content
Mm,
that you're so passionate about that lights you up because if it doesn't, you're going to burn out.
yeah.
You're going to burn out and it's not going to be sustainable. So you have to really look inward and think, what type of content do I really enjoy creating? And then spin it to real estate.
Mm.
Spin it, you know?
I love that. I love that. I could tell from your content, cars, nice clothes, jewelry,
Hmm.
maybe watches, nice homes, of course, right? You're in real estate. And I like how you tie that in because it makes I feel like personally, I'm right there with you. 10 years in this industry, it makes it a lot more fun when you can connect with people that you can have common traits about or talk about certain things that you both like, whether it's golfing or cars or whatever it is. So a really good point on that. I like that a lot. We have two more questions, and I want to be selfish here and not give the viewers and listeners the questions just yet because we
Yeah.
have a bit more time before our show is even over. And I want to go a little bit more into because you've recently joined Real, and
Yes.
there's these opportunities now because you like we talked about like so you're getting additional viewers and you're serving and supporting women and also men as well that are inspiring real estate professionals been in the business for a while trying to figure out like their calling and how they approach content. What's your thought process as far as building, it's one thing for the buy side, the sell side, the referral network and your social, but then you go deep, right? And we go deep in like this whole like okay, a downline, right? Building a downline, going through that process. Like, what's your take on building a downline and having
Yeah.
that a part of? Is that a part of your business plan? Is that something you have aspirations to do, or maybe you're already doing it?
Yeah, I love that question. So I will, it's gonna be a long one, but I
You
promise
have
stay
time.
with
You're
it.
good.
Uh, so when my mom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's a few years ago,
Mm,
I was really depressed and sad and scrolling social media and feeling like I was just seeing constant wins all the time. Like it
mm,
was another just listed post, another just sold
yeah,
post. And I didn't really know like who to go to for help. And so
yeah.
I realized like in that moment that I need to be the agent that I really needed during that time when everything looked so perfect on the surface, but deep down I was really, really struggling. And so I then started creating this authentic, and vulnerable content. And so yes, there is a lot of boss babe in there, but if you look, there's also a lot of me crying. There's also like
Mm,
video of me talking about my mom. There's videos of me
mm-hmm,
talking about my separation, like
mm-hmm,
that I struggle with. So
yeah.
I just have such a big heart to serve other women, and I'm very passionate about it because I always say we are most powerfully positioned to serve the person that we once were. So I was a
Amen.
girl that was scrolling and sad on social, and I know that there are other women out there that are also feeling that way as well. So that's who I'm serving, and that is just naturally who I attract as agents. A
Mm.
nine, I hate that word. I hate it. So
I think that.
the community that I'm creating, I would be building that community whether or not it paid me a dollar or not. It's so not, and I'll get a little woo woo with you too. Like literally, I feel like God put this dream in my heart to create this community of women, and so that's what I'm doing. So, am I
Mm,
focused on it? I'm focused on creating the community because that's what I'm
yeah,
passionate about, and the money
yeah,
is just, it's whatever. It's a bonus on the 15th that I'm like, oh cool,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And, it's funny, connecting with you on the subject matter of we're here to serve those who we used to be.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that quote. I gave that off to Teresa. So we have like 17 on staff in the liftoff side and like seven full-time editors. She's one of our editors, and she's like, what was that quote? I'm like, I sent it to her. She's like, I just love that.
yeah,
And it's so true. And I feel like, I love the woo talk. That's something that like I have aspirations to do another podcast to like go deeper with that. The Lift Off Experience podcast. It's coming soon. Stay tuned. But um,
love
but I
that.
like the fact that like what you said, like it's a moment in time that you come to in which you learn how precious life is. And you can make all the money in the world, girlfriend, boyfriend out there, but guess what? It doesn't mean anything if you're not showing up, you're not serving, you're being your true authentic self. And when you're said and gone, how are people going to remember you, right? How you showed up for them. It's not the money, it's not the cars, it's not the jewelry, it's none of that type of stuff. It's
No.
I look at those as just I look at cars and money and all that type of stuff as like just like a key indication of how you can intrigue someone. Like, oh, I want that too, and yada yada yada. Until they like the veil. It's almost like a veil. Like, let that go, and then you're like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
we're just here to help each other, man. Like, we don't need to be in competition, and it's all love. And like, how are you going to be remembered, Lindsay? Like, the way you
Yeah.
showed up here.
Yeah. And I think that, yeah, I mean, you just said it perfectly. You really did. The cars and the stuff that I showed you on my Instagram is more, I would say, to it is a sense of empowerment to show,
Mm,
hey, this is where you could be. It's not everything, right? But like, I wish I could just
Yeah.
cry on Instagram all day long and people would take me seriously, but I can't, So it has to be that
Yeah.
mix, that balance
Yeah.
of me being authentic and vulnerable, showing you that boss babe side, and then the third pillar is always I'm going to give you some kind of value, whether it's
Mm,
a lead magnet, whether that's me inviting you to a webinar, whether
yeah.
it's giving you XYZ. So
I love that. I love that. And honestly, like that's why real estate versus technology is here, because I feel like we get so caught up in like the glitz and the glam, and you have a lot of people that look at you as like, whether you look at like this or not, like you're a celebrity. Like if you go to your Instagram, like I look at Lindsay as a celebrity. That's who you show up as, like someone who is can follow along, someone that can be inspired, someone that can do the same that you've already done, and then you have a network of amazing women to serve and support on that side as well. And it's just it's amazing. So I appreciate you kind of opening up a little bit, because I feel like sometimes it's nice. Like I'm a car guy, and so I just bought one of my supercars, my dream cars, about I don't know, a year ago. So open up the hood. I'll use that analogy, and like let's look underneath the hood. Like let's get a
yeah,
little vulnerable. Like let's understand like we're human first. Outside of the fact that like here's the things that you could do that are technical that you need to get done. That's totally understandable. But at the end of the day, like I feel like in life, it's nice to slow down. And this is that moment to be able to connect, because I don't feel like enough people connect these days. I feel like everyone's so quick and fast and so transactional and this and that. But like, if you can have more magical moments and slow down, then you could really be able to connect and be able to have a moment that is just like magical that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
yeah. And I think too, a lot of times people think that vulnerability is a weakness when in fact it is really such a strength to
Amen.
connect with your audience. And vulnerability I always say too is like a muscle. So the more that
Mm,
you work it, the easier it's going to become. And so it's become, I mean, much easier for me to share these things. And like I said to
yeah.
you, switch that mindset and just say, who am I
Mhm.
serving in this moment? Because I know that there's a girl out there that needs to see this post about my separation of 10 years and how you don't have to stay
Amen.
in a situation that somebody doesn't support your growth or doesn't believe in you or, blah, 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 whatever it may be. Or there's a
Yeah.
girl out there that needs to see that your mom is struggling and it's hard. And I can't
Mm,
tell you, I probably got 1,000 DMs from my separation video and a little less for the video that I created talking about my mom. So
wow.
you just, I think sometimes we forget, like you said, that we are really here to connect with people. And I just want to impact as many people's lives as I possibly can, like while I'm here.
I love that. And we're doing it right now. If you're vibing out right now, please do us a favor and subscribe and like to this episode, and go follow Lindsay. Go give her some feedback. And I do want to get a little bit into, because we do
Yeah.
have some time here, like like what you created. You have another Instagram, Ambiguous Women.
Yeah.
Want to understand about the community of realtors that dream big, but don't have to do this alone. So what
Yeah.
was the inspiration behind this? What is the goal behind this? So I love to take this opportunity to say anyone who's viewing and listening can connect with what your mission is with it. And then anyone who's taking this moment to actually like listen here and actually vibe out with us and be able to like, let's go deeper with the process. So anyone who is listening could follow the journey, can connect with you and join. So we can cross pollinate here, like the birds, like not the birds, like the bees and the flowers. So what is it about? And like, why do you kick it
Yeah.
off?
So literally, I created that Instagram page and that community because of everything that we just talked about with my mom, how I was
Beautiful.
feeling so alone and
Mm,
isolated. And I just felt like I was on an island alone. And I just felt like there were so many wins constantly on social. And so I didn't know who to go to for help. I knew that there had to be other girls out there that were struggling and kind of feeling that way. And I feel like a lot of times, especially as women in real estate, we're naturally competitive and jealous of one another. Like you're already going to be competitive and jealous
yep.
in real estate in general. Then you
Yeah.
add the fact that you're a woman on top of it. And it's just, we're so naturally competitive and jealous. And so I really had this dream in my heart to create this community of women who love
Mm,
each other, who support one another, who are there to lift each other up and not hate on one another. Because there's so
yeah.
much hate.
Yeah.
There's so much hate among women, especially in the real estate industry. So that's why it was created. I don't know where I'm taking it yet. I don't know. I mean, I've been offered, some cool things. We'll see. I have to feel right now in my life, my time is stretched so thin that it has to be like a hell yes for me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
commit the time because I don't want
Yeah.
to take it away from the girls that I have at Real.
Hmm.
And so I have to feel like I'm very aligned in whatever I'm doing, and it has to be a hell yes. I can give up something else in my schedule and in my life to forfeit for,
Yeah.
your peace. So
I love that. I love that. That it's so powerful because anyone who's viewing and listening out there, like stick with your plan A. If you're
yeah,
trying to have a plan B, then you don't really care so much about your plan A, and like you got to
yes.
push that plan A more. And I commend you for that because my wife actually went through a tumultuous relationship with her ex-husband, and she was someone that I don't want to go too deep into her story. I'll let her tell that. But long story short, I employ her to try to. This is actually inspiration for me to even have a conversation with her. She has a tea company. Shout out Red Zen Tico. We retired her from teaching for 16 years, so she's been full time 2 years for her tea company. But she's doing a women's empowerment retreat over in Sedona, so she actually leaves here very soon for that, which is dope. And
She's throwing it. She's throwing it herself.
she's not throwing it. She's just a part of it. And her stepmother invited her. And then she invited her twin sister, who's a real estate agent. Shout out Michelle Lewis over in the Bay Area, California.
Yeah.
And her other sister, Dre. But, it's funny. Dre's actually coming out during the same time, but not going to the event. She's like, what's going on here? But it's all good. Everything has this time, right? But yeah, so some of the stuff you're talking about is cool because, I feel like there's a shift. And I feel like, the men, look at us, we're so cool, whatever. Like, no, like, I think women, and this could be a little esoteric, but I think women are the ones that are just more just nurturing. There's, take it for what you will. You can check out Gaia. There's some stuff out there, but they talk about other planets, if you will, that like women are the ones who are the ones that are the bosses. There's less men than women in other places. If you go down that rabbit hole and you want to learn more of the esoteric stuff, but yeah, it's y'all who keep us men in check. I know my wife, she's like, slow down, is that really sensible? Do we do all that? I'm like, come on, I want to know. It's like, no. So yeah, so I love that what you're doing for the women out there. That's awesome.
I will be throwing to the Ambitious Women event January
Okay.
16th. January 16th in DC. It will be on my birthday, my 32nd birthday.
Whoa, go.
Pull the throw on my birthday because there'd be no better gift to give and no better gift to get than to like give back to the women around me that I like love so much and just care for so deeply. So this will be my, I want to say, 6th event that I've thrown.
Wow.
We just threw our Elevate event and had almost 500 people show up, or 500 people sign up. We had like about 300 people, 300 agents in the room. We had Daniel G fly in and Mark Shapiro. It was really awesome. So event planning is also just super fun for me. So
yeah,
the Ambitious Women, I know that I'll be at least throwing an annual event every single year just because I can throw events.
After that. Yeah, go follow our Instagram. That'll be down below too. And I just got back from Vegas from the Ford event, Neil Holmes.
Oh, nice.
Danny G was the first time I ever seen him speak.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn. Like
he's a lot. He's great.
Damn, like he is amazing. Like and Andy G, he's coming up. Not Andy G, Andy G. That's shout out Andy G, who's on a podcast too. I'm talking about the other guy over here, Andy Elliott. All these Andys, but Andy Elliott's in our market. He's up and coming with like Bradley and all that. They're in Mexico right now, and he's a big sales trainer. It's exciting to see you and so many creators out there that are a part of serving and supporting. And how do you get connected with them to become a creator with them?
Great question. So Eric had found a video that I had posted with a couple of my friends. It was like a very silly reel. He put it on his Broke Agent page, and then he started following me from that, and then just kind of started watching my Instagram stories for a couple of months. Eventually invited me to go on the walkthrough. I went on the walkthrough show. It's one of their podcasts, and that offers, and I completely bombed that podcast show. It was the worst ever. I said maybe 2 words. I was so nervous. Very, very different than the person that you're seeing today. I've done a lot of inner work. I got a lot of confidence now than I did just even like a year and a half ago. But that I knew that I wanted to get in with BAM early because I just know where they're going, and they are literally going to take over, the world.
Yes.
I'm a big BAM cult girl. So I started writing articles for them every single Monday for 7 months. So I would just blog post in hopes that they would ask me to become a creator. I had no idea if I was even on their radar at the time. I believe there were only 11 creaters in the US and Canada, but it was such like a dream in my heart to become a BAM creator. And so I wrote these blog posts for them every single Monday for 7 months. And then eventually they asked me to come on as a creator. And so now I create content, for them, and it's just an amazing group of people. It's really like a
Wow.
family. And yeah, that's how we got
That's
connected.
awesome. Dude, congratulations on that side.
Yeah.
That's huge. I've been just kind of from the far, just kind of looking and paying attention and watching,
Yeah.
because they are go follow them. Everyone out there who's viewing and listening, they definitely do a great job adding value and articles you could read and best practices and
Mhm.
techniques. Like obviously what we're talking about today with Lindsay. So it's cool. It's fun to see that.
Yeah.
We're on the thanks to our sponsor, Liftoff Agent. We're on the real estate marketing positioning side. So we're doing things on the service-based side, but we're given our aspirations is to give luxury presence, agent image, agent fire, all those people a run for their money. So yeah,
Yeah.
I saw the broker agent in Vegas, and we kind of like, hey, how's it going? Finally got to meet, but I don't know, nothing really sparked just yet. So we'll see what happens. I had to probably get him on the show too. He hasn't been on Real Estate First Technologies just
Yeah.
yet.
I'm sure. Yeah, for sure. You got to get them on.
That'd be awesome. I love it. Well, back to the questions. We have a couple last questions to tie all this in. I just want to go a little deeper. I thought that was kind
Yeah,
of,
no, I love to go deep. I only send these questions because sometimes there's just like a good baseline to kind
yeah,
of talk about. People are usually curious, oh, how'd you make 71,000 in Instagram leads? So I'll give them a little bit of information, but I prefer to talk about the deep stuff. So whatever you want, whatever you
I
want.
love that. I love that. Well, that's gonna be the title now. So for our editors out there, let's
Yeah,
That's gonna be our
perfect.
thumbnail. How do you make $71,000 Instagram leads? All right. Well, then we'll go a little deeper into the
Yeah.
next question, and then from there, we'll see how we go. We got about for a viewers and listener out there, our show. So we got about 19 more minutes left, give or take. So next question is so. Your thoughts on giveaways? What's your thoughts with giveaways to be able to utilize those to exchange for email content?
Yeah, I love to do giveaways. So the the best performing giveaway that I've ever done has been to give away a free Starbucks drink on your Instagram story in exchange for an email address.
I
So
love it.
anybody who's listening to can DM me the word Starbucks. And again, my BAM article, I have a BAM article for anything. So even if agents are listening and they're like, how did you convert 60 million in Zillow leads? I've got a BAM article. So if you need help with something, just DM me and I probably wrote
Wow.
one. I've written for them now for almost 17 months.
Wow.
So yeah. So Starbucks giveaways, DM me the word Starbucks. Essentially, it's just you're giving away a free Starbucks drink in exchange for an email using the ManyChat capture customer data for lead magnet flow
Yeah.
that flows through ManyChat. And then the very end of that ManyChat flow, you're just delivering a picture to them with a QR code for a Starbucks drink. Now you want to tell them that it's valid for 24 hours only and for one drink only. And
Mm.
where like somebody got caught in a pay it forward line and they ended up buying like 12 different drinks. So
Oh my
tell
God.
for and the other thing too is the most I've ever spent on this every single time I want to say is like $200.
Wow.
Even a massive amount of followers,
Hmm.
people love the thought and like the idea behind it. Like I'm offering you a free Starbucks drink, right? Most of the time
Yeah.
people don't actually go and get it, but they love the thought of it and then you're more memorable.
That's huge. I love that. I love that. Yeah, and it's awesome because if you already go and get Starbucks anyways, that makes a whole lot of sense. And what we did, so on the sponsor side, Liftoff Agent, we do a referral partnership program. And I don't know if you guys know who. I mean, EXP, but
Yeah.
Team Fast, Kenny Fast, and Elias. Elias is a great coach with Team Fast on that side. And his wife wanted some pots and pans, and he sent us a referral on the Liftoff Agent side. And well, I had no idea, and it was for 250. And she bought some pots and pans. We had a conversation, and he's like, every time I'm cooking food, my wife's cooking food, I'm thinking about you guys. I was like, yes, to
Oh, I love that. Yes.
right? Because I think that's great for closing gifts too, whether it's pots and pans, charcuterie board, like washer, dryer, fridge, like something that someone can use every single day. That it just makes it so much more powerful than just like here's a bottle of wine and
Yeah, absolutely.
what do you do for your closing gifts? Do you have anything special that you do
Yeah.
for your clients?
I like to do a watercolor painting of the house.
That's cool.
All basic, but get it framed and then they always keep it and then they
Yeah.
always remember. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So the last question I have, and curious to ask is, so now that people can understand like how to get the email list, do the giveaways, what have you, what would you recommend them to do to then continuously nurture those emails? What type of content are you sending them? So it's not like too salesy, but you're adding value.
Totally. So I love to set, so for my consumer side of the list, I love to send a weekly email on Fridays, and I use an app called The Nudge. And so The Nudge
Mm,
has local influencers that go around and they video different fun things to do in your
okay.
areas. It will be, and that's like very fun, interesting things too. So, for example, like go pet a sloth in Vienna, or grab a rainbow latte on, in Northeast, or
Yeah.
grab heated chai, or grab a chai on the heated patio in Southeast. So it's very like fun things, karaoke pop up bars. I just pick 4 or 5 fun things from that Nudge app, copy it, put it in my email, and I send that out on Fridays. And it's the same email subject line every single week. It's this week in the city. They know it comes,
Mm,
they're seeing my face, Lindsay Joe, Lindsay Joe, Lindsay Joe, every single Friday. So that's for the consumer.
wow.
For the agent side, I'm not reinventing the wheel. So I'm already a BAM creator, right? I'm
Yeah.
under contract with BAM to create one blog post for them per week. So all I do is I take the first paragraph of that blog post that I created and I put it in my Flowdesk email. I send that out with a link to the BAM site, and that goes out to my agent side on Monday.
Wow.
So every Friday is consumer side, this week in the city. Every Monday is my agent side. And that's just my BAM article. And that's
That's
what I do.
awesome. Isn't it ironic and just interesting how things have shifted with like
Yeah.
technology, with these cloud-based brokerages? It's not so much just the buyer side, seller side, just prospecting side. It's now also agent side. So it sounds like you're separating the two and being very deliberate with what you're doing on the two different sides to add value to agents. And these are agents that maybe are part of your network as far as maybe I know you don't like the downline term, but or
Yeah.
like with the women's empowerment, like what you're doing with that, and then also
Yes.
just individuals that just maybe downloaded anything, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it's any agent that is signed up for a lead magnet goes into my Flowdesk. And then I have the lead magnets separated. So different or segmented. So it'll be I don't know, my buyer guide or my seller guide or
Mm,
whatever I'm giving away.
yeah.
And they'll go into a different segment. And then I know kind of how to market to them appropriately. But I really
Okay.
don't, unless it's like a very localized event, like a realtor prom that I've thrown, or a sell with social, or an elevate event, or a next wave event,
Yeah.
I really, every email just goes out to the group if it's an agent,
Got it. Yeah.
unless the local event I'm throwing, then over to my local side.
Okay. I love that, man. Amazing. So
Yes.
to tie into that question, curious.
Right.
So imagine someone's watching right now or listening. And if you want to watch, go to youtube.com, type in real estate versus technology unleashed. So if someone's watching or viewing and they're like, okay, I have my license and they're crushing it, right? They're crushing it on social media. They're getting a lot of views, likes, followers, connections, and they're starting to pick up more views and connections with real estate professionals. They're not a part of the man network, right? They want to work with buyers and sellers and they want to grow that. It's a kind of a two-part question. How important is it for individuals to be singularly focused on the one thing with the buyer and the seller side first? And second off, maybe at what point should or did you think about when you should be adding value to the agent network of individuals that are intrigued by you, that are following you, and so on and so forth? Because there's people out there that are like not a part of EXP or Real or LPI, all those different ones, LPT,
LPC.
whatever that one is. There's so many popping up. So that's kind of a two-part. What would you
Yeah.
recommend?
Great question. I don't focus on it at all.
Wow.
I just post what I want to post. I post what I'm passionate about and what I care about. I think a lot of times we are so analytical about what we're posting and what we're doing. And I
Mm,
burn out on it because for a while I was thinking, oh, I have to create a YouTube channel. I have to create this educational content. And guess what? I was so miserable. I
wow.
hated my life because
Hmm.
I'm not that's not the type of content that I should be creating. So I literally just post whatever season of life I'm in. I post what's going on, whether that's
Got it.
separation, whether that's my mom's, illness,
Yeah.
whatever it is, I'm posting about it. And I'm attracting the right people. They know I'm in real estate. They know in my bio I've sold, over 110 million. They know that I've pinned posts showing all the properties that I've sold. So
Yeah.
you have to go with what your gut says in terms of the type of content that you're passionate about, and your people will come. I don't have any real strategy around it other than the fact that I want to impact women's lives, and the money comes. The money
Yeah.
comes. That's it. I wish
I
I
love that.
I'm very tactical and deliberate in a lot of aspects of my life. Like, as you can tell,
Mhm,
I'm a flow deck.
mhm.
ManyChat, segmented email lists, all these things. I'm not deliberate in my content. I just go
Wow.
post whatever I want to post, whatever I'm feeling, whatever season of life I'm in. I take my audience along in the journey with me. And like I said, they start to root for you and you build this amazing community of people, whether that's buyers or sellers or agents,
Yeah.
and the money comes. I
That's
promise you.
huge. That's you. I love that. Just focus on the one thing. Do a
Yeah.
good job. Show up, right? Buyers and sellers, prospecting, whatever. And it's almost like the universe, God, call it what you will just show you what you need to see if you're there to listen. And it's like, here it is, and like go for it, right? And so I feel like too many of us overcomplicate things. We're too much in our mind. It's that good old ego back there, are you doing it right, or why aren't you doing this, and all the things, or look at Lindsay, she's better than you, and all. It's like, just let it go. Just
Yeah.
be,
Totally.
focus on what you want. But we're at the part of the show now where just want to open the floor up to you. Like, anything that you want to leave for our viewers and listeners. Hour in, this has been a pleasure. Lindsay, I'm gonna give you the floor. And if anything sticks out for you that you really want to just pour into our viewers and listeners as we close up our show today.
This. I don't think I've ever been asked this question on all the podcasts that I've ever been on. I don't think I've ever been asked.
Hey, we're underground force to be reckoned with, so watch out.
I love it. I will say that if anybody here that's been, listening so far has been following me, that like in the last few years, I've had a really rough time with, again, we've talked about this a million times already on this episode, but with separation, with my mom's illness. I want you to know that if you're going through a rough time right now, that yes, it is really rough, but a lot of times those rough situations and those rough moments really propel you forward into an insane level of growth. Yes, there's a lot of activity that comes out of that, like in terms of a content perspective, but also sometimes those really rough periods also lead you to kind of like your life's purpose, right? So had I not gone through that really difficult season, scrolling on social media, like being really depressed about my mom's illness and all of that, I would have never noticed that there weren't women who were showcasing that authentic and vulnerable side of content. And I would have never started creating that type of content to showcase to other female realtors. And so now, like I said, I really do think that it is like my life's purpose to create this community of women. So I just want anybody who's listening to know that if you're going through a rough season, go through it, know that on the other side, you're going to be okay, but also that sometimes those really rough moments really propel you forward in growth and sometimes lead you to your life purpose. So just have a little faith.
Wow. Absolutely eloquently said. And for anyone who's viewing and listening out there, like Lindsay and I have never met each other. And I'll be honest with you, like my team is the one that connected us and said that we should like get on a show together. And of course we have our standard procedure as well to like connect with people, right? It's more so about connecting. And I feel like a lot of us can be very technical. And I think sometimes too, people just kind of maybe have a thought in their back of their mind to maybe, I don't know, maybe have like an underlying, underaddressed like agenda. And I love just coming into this and not having that and just being able to be open and honest. And for everyone who's listening and viewing, like Lindsay sent me over questions and then I challenged her a little bit about like going into other stuff that she doesn't focus in. And she's like, I'm not open for debate and all the whole nine. And I felt like it was a magical, amazing experience. And I just like to be as vulnerable and transparent as I possibly can, leading by example and adding value to our industry. So God bless you, Lindsay. I really do appreciate your time today. And I'm excited to share this episode with our community.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Of course. And now I'm going to follow you. And when I see your content, it's going to be a different vibe because now we have this connection. It's not so much like the front end. And that's where I think that people need to realize we're human. We're humans, technology makes us look so great. Right. And it's just like, and you look great. You're doing an amazing job and all the things, not discrediting that one bit. It's just like, hey, remember we're human first. And like, we can connect with one another and like reach out and stuff like that and just vibe out.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, Lindsay, thanks so much for being on the show today. I really do appreciate your time. Man, all of our viewers and listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate First Technology, as it is our intention for you to take things from our show to apply to your business and more massive success. God bless. Take care. And we'll see you all on the next one.